Welcome back to the 6th episode of the Fuel Good podcast. It's good to be back. For this return episode, we sit down with the lovable and dynamic Siv Ngesi, an entertainer, actor, drag queen, pole dancer, and so much more. The conversation covers many topics, including family road trips, masculinity, amazing moms, and physical and mental health. It's a great episode to dip back into if you want to understand the power of a good mother and how that can not only change the life of their child, but also impact the lives of those around them. Before you listen, though, please let me apologize up front and say my own audio is not my finest work, but the conversation was so good, I decided to push through and share it with you all the same. Look, I have just had brain surgery, so the fact that I managed to get pristine audio from my guest, well, I'll just consider that a win. So go ahead, make yourself a cup of coffee or tea, pour a beverage of your choice, buckle up, and listen in. You've been one of my dream guests for a little while. So the year did start off quite shitty for me. Mm-hmm. I fell off my bike. It was discovered I had cancer. And I put the show on pause until I dealt with that. And the longer I was in that holding pattern, the more I knew there was only a handful of people I wanted to get going with. And you were definitely up there. So when I saw you the other day at the Hyundai thing, I thought, I'm going to shoot my shot because for me, it was a sign. So thank you very, very much. I first sort of semi-met you on, I figure out when it was. It was this Grow ECD food forward thing we were doing.
Yeah.
And you guys were distributing food. I remember I was taking photos of you guys like throwing oranges and stuff around. And I asked you about it. And you were like, if it was for charity, probably me. So, and flashed me that big smile. What's that about, man? What draws you to charity?
I think for me, I've never had lots when it comes to money or anything like that, but I've always had a personality that people engaged with. I always had a spark that all people always identified. So I was filthy rich in personality and drive and discipline. And I always knew that with great power comes great responsibility. And for me, if you have R2, you must give at least 50 cents of that R2 away and give it back. And I think for me, like my tax guy the other day was complaining that the biggest section in my expenditure is charity and giving back and like loans and stuff. And he was like, we have to cut this down. And I was like, no. If you cut this down, it's going to cut down where the money comes from. Because it gives. It gives. I give and it comes back 20-fold. And for me, I just was raised in a household of people just giving. You give not because you have lots to give, but you give because it's the right thing to do. And that's how I was raised.
There's a lot to talk about how you were raised. So one of the reasons why this show exists is that I believe everyone, regardless of where you're from, what you do, I think everyone's got a cool car story in them. What's yours?
So I've never been a car guy. Like, to be truthful, I've never been a car guy. You know what I mean? But I can remember my mother just like having like an Uno, like a light blue Uno. And I remember my mother used to go on like trips and she used to play like all the divas, Randy Crawford, Aretha Franklin, you know what I mean, Luther Vandross, Roberta Flack,
George Benson.
That's what I grew up on, And then we used to do long drives. My mother was a driver, but my dad didn't have a license. So to drive for hours on end, and we used to just drive and eat and, just.
That's the life.
But we weren't like the quintessential, picket fence kind of family. No, we weren't. But now I'll just do anything to do that all over again because my mom's gone, my dad's gone, you know what I mean? And, when the parents die, everything starts fizzling out,
Yeah, gotta find who you want to be now.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely, and then she moved to Toyota cars and my mom was a big driver, independence, and she got her license early and, when women weren't getting licenses. And,
definitely not.
And I think being in the car, it wasn't really about the car, it's about being the people in the car.
Yeah, so I kind of had two things that I had a question mark next to. The one was family trips. I got a family trip vibe from you. And I also, another question that I had was, I was gonna like suss it out of you, but you already came forth with it. Was your mom must have been an amazing woman, and I want to tell you why I thought so before you even tell me. But another initiative that you were quite invested in was the anti-femicide movement that kicked off here, thank God, and also like the sanitary towel drives and so on. And when I mentioned to you how that was something I was interested in as well, you were like, "Hi, got daughters, right?" And I said, "No, I got 3 boys." And then I thought, maybe what you're seeing in me is the same thing that's in you. It doesn't come from, the next generation. Maybe it comes from our moms. Like, I think maybe we had like these really, really strong women in our lives without realizing how it was affecting us at the time.
Definitely. I think, it's, for me, I think I get a lot of credit for the work I do in woman-oriented spaces. But a guy like me wouldn't be needed if we didn't have a problem. You know what I mean? Like, and then another thing I realized is that I'm the kind of guy, I'm like a person who sees people jumping red robots, and because I stopped the red robot, I get people clapping for me. But I should stop at the traffic lights. You know what I mean? I should stop at the red. You know what I mean? The people jumping are the problem. And because so many people are jumping the red robot, the guy who stops the traffic, great job, great job. Nah, bruh. I should be anti-femicide. We should be anti-women being killed. We should be anti any human being killed. We should be anti-rape. Like, we should be anti-men getting raped, women getting raped, or kids getting raped. You know what I mean? I think it should be normalized. I think it makes me uncomfortable when I get credit for it. It really makes me feel so uncomfortable. Because for me, it's all I know. You know what I mean? I only know to stop with the red robot. Why wouldn't I? Because if I jump it, something could happen. I could kill someone or whatever. So I think that's my view on it. I struggle with compliments. I get lots of them, but I struggle with them because internally I have this thing in my head that says, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I did well. Obviously I did. You know what I mean? And that's what I have, is that. And then lastly, I think discipline equals freedom. People don't understand that, I think. I think people don't realize if I eat clean and I exercise and I do what's good for me, the freedom is a healthy body. That's the freedom. But people who eat shit and don't work out, they think they're the free ones by eating shit. But their bodies won't last long. You know what I mean? So for me, I think discipline equals freedom. And for me, it's the discipline part of it is consistency. I think I keep consistency in who I am, but there's a price to pay continuously. You know what I mean? I always get into shit. But the discipline is just stay true to who I am.
On the topic of powerful, badass women, what was it like working with Viola Davis?
Viola Davis was like working with my mother. Like, she's one of those women. Yeah. She's just someone's mother. No bodyguard, ni fucking like that. It's just every day. She just shouted at me for not drinking water. You know what I mean? Like, shouted at me not drinking water. If she says, "I never see you drink water," she's like, "Siv, I'm gonna kick your ass if you don't drink water." And then she would be like, "If you ever come to LA, you don't come to my house for supper, I'm gonna kick your ass." That kind of woman. You know what I mean? Like, in the beginning, I was quite weird about reaching out. I have her number. I'm like, oh, what do I say? And she was like, "I will kick your ass if you don't message me when you get to fucking LA."
And you're going to the States in
Yeah, so I'm in the States often, but I wasn't. Yeah. She wasn't there, and vice versa. She's the beast, man. She's the beast. And for me, I'm all about challenging myself and being uncomfortable and meeting people who make me feel like I should work harder. And she's that. I remember at Red Carpet. My mother just died 2.5 weeks before, and I'm in Toronto. I remember walking on the red carpet and no one screaming. And then Viola walked after me and everyone screamed. I remember thinking, I don't want fame. I want power. I'm not screaming at her because she's famous. I'm screaming at her because she's powerful.
Yeah, she's different.
And that's what I want. I want power. I don't want fame.
That's interesting. I'm somewhat of a fan, but my wife's a big fan. So I'm scared of her. If I didn't ask her, I'd be shit too. Yeah. And I'll let her know that she's now like 3 degrees of separation.
Yeah. Has she watched? Have you guys watched Woman King?
No. We're watching it together this weekend. Okay. We've kind of been living past each other for a little while, so that's on our list of things we'll get to. That and we're watching some random shit on Netflix, like crazy
What do you call it?
documentaries and stuff. We just watch all kinds of stuff. And on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's a trap. Like we try to...
I'm going to start Shogun. Shogun?
That is 10 out of 10 show.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. No, that is kind of where I live, like the Japanese
Yeah.
epics and so on. Now, tell me what you think of it.
One of my favorite movies is Last Samurai.
So you're going to see a lot of carryover.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a controversial take where The Last Samurai was like this Western take on this sacred Japanese period. And then this is like the Japanese have done it right now. So I think you can appreciate both.
No, I've heard great things.
But no, it's and another really badass chick in there.
There's something about Japanese acting. It's got like
tense, huh? No, dude, I love it. I love all things Japanese.
No, I've been to Japan a few times. It's in like another world. The only good thing about Japan is that I got no links when I was there on Tinder. Not one link. No one wants to make a Tiger Woods with me.
That's messed up.
I know, it's terrible.
Maybe on next trip, eh?
No, I've been there 3 times.
I've skipped past who you are a little bit just because I got too excited. Sorry. So, actor, comedian?
Actor, comedian, TV presenter, producer. Actually, multi-award winner. I can't lie. I've won too many awards. I'm an entertainer. I'm an entertainer-preneur. I want to entertain. I want people to feel. I want people to think. I want people to cry. I want people to laugh. And that's what I do. I just want to entertain people, make people think. I think my next show that I'm doing is called Mommy's Boy. Busy writing and putting it together now. And it's literally about an ode to my mother, what made me who I am. Literally, it will be an hour.
What today's show is about.
Yeah, but it'll be an hour, but I only talk about it in the last 10 minutes. Okay. You only realize that she's dead in the last 10 minutes. You know what I mean? The rest is just about what I've learned from her about masculinity, about life, about sex, it's an ode to my mother. And I think I want everyone to leave, and as soon as they get into the car, I want them to call their mothers.
Gotcha.
That's
Yeah, no, my mom's also quite spectacular. Like, she's 78, but 3 years ago, she just let us all know she's about to get married.
Oh, wow.
We're like, oh, okay. And then we kind of just fell in line because, well, you can't stop a storm. And then you've listed most of the things you are/do, but let's talk about fitness. I know you mentioned 3 things. We'll get to the boxing eventually. We'll talk about paddle. But let's talk about I think I dare say it's the sport that you've created a whole other persona around. Tell us about that.
Drag or pole dancing?
My reptile brain kind of combined the two for no good reason. Tell me about both.
I think for me, drag and pole dancing came together at similar times. I think during COVID, I was uncomfortable about masculinity and things that were happening. People were abusing women, people doing crazy things. And then I wanted to shoot content about feminine things like pole dancing, ballet, and drag. And then like literally drag and pole dancing stuck. It makes people uncomfortable, but a lot of the times, most people are just in awe of it. Once again, Bram, it's the traffic light stopping. I'm just at the traffic light, and other people who are uncomfortable are the ones who jump in the traffic lights. You know what I mean? Like me, I do what I love. I do what I love. I do what makes me comfortable. I don't give a fuck what people think. And that's taken years and years and years of trial and error. I think the sweet spot is not care what people think. I think you can care what people who you love think about you.
Yeah.
But other people, I've realized that dogs only bark at moving cars. Because if everyone loved you, you're doing nothing with your life. If everyone loved if everyone loved this pair of jeans, how shit would the world be if everyone's wearing the same pair of jeans? But
nice
for
jeans,
me, yeah, it's a nice jeans. Freedom of movement. Thank you very much. Thanks, Sia Kolisi, and Sia Kolisi shoes. But for me, it's an art form that I really enjoyed, and another thing, I started doing it after I did a cover. I did a cover for Men's Health. 8 weeks of hell. Hated every moment. I was obsessed. I wasn't enjoying it. But then I stopped gymming. I haven't gymmed in 4.5 years. About 4 years, I haven't gymmed a single day in gym. About 3.5, 4 years. And now I can combine art with a workout. And now I keep this body by doing an art form. And I enjoy every minute of it. And it's difficult. And I get a lot of attention for it. All I'm doing is stopping at the traffic light, man. I'm just doing what I love.
The flip side of that, the nice thing about that is that if you don't need to live in an echo chamber, you will find that the people that exit because of what you do, you didn't want them to stay anyway.
No. It's like if any woman comes to my apartment and she doesn't cuddle, I don't want her in my life. I need cuddles.
I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't got you, but I get you.
Yeah, I'm a cuddler. You know what I mean? If you don't cuddle, just get out.
I think that's fair. Your alter ego, would you call it that?
Savannah, yes, yeah.
Full on alter ego.
Yeah,
Siv and Savannah. The Savannah, do you guys take turns driving?
Savannah does nothing except what she wants to do, really. But on the pole it's Siv, and then when I put on makeup and stuff, it becomes Savannah. I haven't done Savannah in a long time. I think it's funny. I haven't done drag long because I need my beard. But what Savannah has done for the drag community is indescribable. Not what I've done, because it's not about me, but what Savannah has done, because people know that she is, the other side of her is a famous heterosexual man, has gotten the drag world quite a lot of attention in South Africa. So a lot of my drag friends are getting a lot of crazy, huge jobs. We've created a lot of brands of drag events that are really doing very well. But I think it's quite sad that it had to be a heterosexual man being involved. But we are taking it and running with it, and people are doing very well. The gigs are bigger and better. The queens are making so much money. And I think the creation of Savannah played a part in that little empire. But am I saying it's because of Savannah? No. What I'm saying is that she definitely played a role.
That's interesting because, yeah, you did make a distinction when we were chatting about that. You know, you're a straight drag queen. And I wonder, I don't care, but I wonder if, and I guess that's what you're saying as well, if the fact that you're straight has made it just a little bit more appealing to the mainstream.
I think,
a bit less scared.
I think me being straight and a lot of people knowing that I can fuck them up,
that'll help.
Has definitely helped. And I think that just opposing my very feminine character that I've created with this very masculine guy who boxes, played rugby, plays paddle, and open mouth, loud and hyper masculine. I think that's going to people like looking as well. Then actually PJ, your friend PJ, he was actually at the first meeting. Because Tia got us together to be able to create Savannah. And it's been literally the first time I was there was PJ, Barry, Manila, and Tia was involved. They were involved in the whole creation.
I know all of those names.
Yes. But one thing that I think is it's a beautiful art form. And I think every man should try it. It's just something happens to you, and I'm blessed to be. But one thing I have to admit and say is that I think a lot of people were skeptical in the queer community about why I was doing it. And I think a lot of people in the queer community have been hurt by many people like me. You know what I mean?
Fly by night.
Yeah.
Kind of exploit the situation.
And then I think they've all gone, let's see what he's going to do. And I think day in, day out, I think a lot of people in the queer community have gone, no, he's the real deal. He's not exploiting. You know what I mean? And I've had to learn, made mistakes and had to, you know what I mean? It's the same as you work with cars, but I'm sure you have a lot of influencers coming through who aren't car people working with cars. But it's easy. They're not gonna last long. You know what I mean? They can't fake it for very long.
Yeah.
But you guys, cars in depth.
It's quite a contentious subject right now. So when I make these podcasts, I don't make it for the car community. I make it for my community, which is all kinds of people. But there's definitely a situation in the car industry right now where there are influencers, there are content creators, and there are old school journos. And I would say at least half of the journos are very threatened by these guys coming in. For me, that's kind of been on both sides a little bit, played in the middle. I've worked with a journo. I've also worked with manufacturers. So I just kind of enjoy everybody that comes along. Sometimes you can see the influencer table a mile away. They're the guys that look the most colorful. They've got like decoupage and they've got freaking radical crocs and everything. And I find those are the fun conversations I haven't been having for the last 20 years as well. So in my space, for sure, there's space for everyone. But I think you've nailed it. Like, you don't have to feel threatened. They're not there to do what you're going to do. They're doing what they do. They've got their audience and the rest of it. So I've been enjoying the people.
It's collabing.
Massively. Yeah.
I think for me, 2024, you can't think that you can survive alone without collaborating with someone to add a bit of wind in your sails, and working with people to be able to, you both giving back. And I think that's where the magic is. I think collaborations are definitely important in 2024.
You've got a drag industry, I've got a drag racing industry, not quite the same. But there's a little bit of commonality.
But speak to Gayton. Gayton's going to say, drag will be everywhere.
Yeah. But so what do you think? I'm putting these all together and I'm going, okay, so you're a guy, you're masculine. You've got a drag alter ego that you employ, you deploy. And, you've got a strong mom. And I'm just putting it all together and I'm going, and I think of the anti-femicide movement and so on. And I think what threatens other people or what they don't understand about me and definitely about, to a larger degree, I would say about you, is that they might go, well, do you hate being a guy? Do you hate men?
Yeah.
What do you like rebelling against?
I think for me, what I think, I don't like the way the world depicts and views masculinity. I think masculinity is a beautiful thing. I think masculinity is like water, atomic energy. I think water can drown, atomic, that kind of stuff can become atomic bombs. I think masculinity in the right hand is a beautiful thing. I think the world needs masculinity. I do think it's been depicted, and I think over the years, I think masculinity has, the version of toxicity of masculinity has lost its way. And I think a lot of people are taking a beating with it. And I think the question is, the way you're married, your wife must know a version of your masculinity that many women out there don't know, or men don't know. I'm sure she knows parts of you that you only show her, right? But if we lived in a world that let us show all of our masculinity, good, the vulnerable, the sad, the honest, the soft, the strong, the protective, the provider, the beauty of us. But I don't think the world lets us show that. So when people talk about patriarchal system, they always talk about the patriarchal system and how it affects women badly. They don't talk about how the patriarchal system fucks up men. Yeah. What, you trying to tell me that I'm a 38-year-old man and I'm not allowed to cry? What? If I wasn't allowed to cry over the last 2 years of losing my mother, I would have become suicidal and I would have killed people. Because I don't know if you know this, but when women hurt, they hurt themselves. When men hurt, they hurt other people, right? So for me, crying and being able to be vulnerable enough to be able to tell people that I'm not doing well, that I'm hurting, I'm feeling so shit, that my mother's gone. Yeah. If the system doesn't let us let that out, why do you think men are hurting people everywhere we go? So for me, my thing and my views of that, I love masculinity. I love being strong. I love being able. Here's another thing. I don't know if you heard this before, but the loving man, the loving, soft man, has a side to him that is hiding, which is the hard, evil, and you know what I mean? Like, we all have these things that we have. Like when you jump on your motorbike, bro, I'm sure there's a side of you, this masculine side to you that's out there. That's when you're on your bicycle, there's a beautiful masculinity. But don't depict us and make us this one single thing. We're multi-faceted individuals, and masculinity is a beautiful thing, but we need to be able to, I think accountability is important, and consistency, and being able to hold us accountable for our actions. You know, for example, so there's this culture of cancel culture online that's very, very popular. And women are upset that men don't cancel culture. But men come from hunting, like pack mentality. And if you're hunting, me and you are hunting, and I said to you, the mammoth, get the leg of the mammoth, and you fuck up there, right? We're not going to go and shout at you, no, the boys will come to go, Chums, next time get the leg of the mammoth because you're going to trip it. And boom, 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 right? Even in sport, money in the book. You think everyone on Money Book's team went to shout at him?
Absolutely.
You think they all went, what the fuck were you doing? No, bruh. The first thing they went one by one was like, you make up next game, bitch. Kind of a thing. And the reason why we've struggled a lot of the times with what's happening is that I don't think men instinctively have a cancel culture. We don't have that. What we have is quite a one-on-one kind of a thing. You might have 10 guys coming to you going, nah, but I wasn't cock here. But unfortunately, I don't think we're holding each other accountable going, if you don't kick that ball right, what are we going to do? Or that mammoth. You know what I mean? And I think that's the way the problem is. I think women, I do think men are addressing situations one-on-one. But unfortunately, when you're one-on-one, there's no one to hold you accountable in the broader scheme.
Yeah, you need to see it happen. And I think they need to see it happen as well.
Yeah. So for example, if your friend's hitting his wife, men don't come to go, nah, bro, you can't be doing that, bro. Like, this is fucking bullshit. Instead of us going, you touch her again, we'll all fuck you up. And that changes it. But I don't think we have that mentality as men. I think we have a one-on-one address.
Do you think we'll get there? Do you think... I noticed a couple of things like socially have evolved since COVID. Yeah. Like men have gotten softer to each other. They've definitely like love you, man. Checking in more and more. Yeah. And I think if that's the part of the puzzle we need to work on, then there's almost hope. Like I just don't think we talk about it enough. I mean, how do we initiate that? How do we go do it?
It's I don't know, man. Like,
it's not on Twitter. It's in a real space.
But I think men's circles are important. I think we need to. I think each group of friends needs to have like a circle once a month, and bring new friends in and bring little boys and little cousins, and we come in a little circle. I do think I work in a lot of women's spaces. I MC a lot of women events. And I can tell you, women are better than they are. I think women in all women's spaces are better versions of themselves in those spaces. And I witness it every time I MC events, women events, right? The question is, are we as men better versions of ourselves around just men? I don't think so. I think our men's spaces turn toxic. Like I think our spaces get toxic, right? And I think, and the toxicity, I think men talking about boobs and vaginas is not toxic. I think it can get toxic.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? I think there's a thing. But when I see women in women's spaces, whoa, man, like I do a lot of women hair events. Wow, they're just like, wow, they're louder, they're in your face, it's like whatever. There's no competition because no one has created a competition. But if you put women in just women's spaces and you put a competition, you put women's spaces and you put a good-looking man in that space, you'll fuck women up. They're gone. Then they'll be like, I'm hotter, I got a better ass, whatever. But masculinity, I go back to the point. I think masculinity is beautiful. I think masculinity is powerful. I think a lot of men need to understand that just because you can be violent and you can be dangerous doesn't mean you have to be. But I do think the loving, kind, beautiful man should have a dangerous side to him that has to protect his family, that has to protect and provide for his family. So for me, I don't think the answer to masculinity is making masculinity feminine. And I don't think the answer to femininity is to make it masculine. I think we should celebrate masculinity for what it is, but call it out for its cock.
I agree. I mean, I love being a man. I love masculinity.
Yeah.
Growing up as a boy, I loved it. Like there's games as a boy that not games, but like things that you do as a boy. Like, you're not going to hear two girls go, who in a fight?
Yeah.
T-Rex or lion.
Yeah.
But we will do that and we will continue all our lives. We'll do it with sports people. We'll do it with superheroes. It's such a guy thing to do. And I find myself still playing that game. I've got 3 boys. Even on our own. 23, 16 and 14. Okay. And I mean, they've been doing it all their lives. I've been doing it as well. And it's something so harmless. But it's that competitive nature that we can explore without actually hurting anybody. It's just fun.
So all 3 of them have that beautiful thing in it, but I'm sure they have a side. Yeah. When something goes, then it goes. You know what I mean? We have it. And for me, my mother learned from an early age that I have a temper. And she spent a lot of just galvanizing it, just going, just like, and like really maneuvering it, and you know what I mean? Like, for example, funny, I was sparring the other day, boxing, and the trainer said to the guy in the ring who was going quite hard at me, he was like, just make sure he doesn't lose his temper. Saying,
you mustn't.
Yeah, no.
Oh, he mustn't.
Told the other guy, just don't let Siv lose his temper.
Yeah.
Because you don't want, then he will, kind of a thing. And for me, I pride myself in, I have a dangerous side. And it's there, right? It's in full control. But the one I go to is my kind, sensitive self. But I'll murder if I have to.
That's a lesson for life.
Oh, no, bro.
Be soft, be gentle. I will fuck you.
Yeah, well, fuck you up. Yeah. Nah, I think it's important. I do not, like, for me, you have a beautiful car, right? Beautiful car. It looks beautiful, but it can still go off-road. And you taught me that last week. I would have never thought this car can go off-road. But it has the capabilities. It won't go off-road often.
Yeah.
But if it needs to go off-road, it will go off-road.
Yeah, do no harm, but take no shit.
Yeah. Oh, agreed.
Okay, I'm going to bring it back a little bit. Sure. So I think I want to fall in. So I've decided right now to do the puzzle. And I've got so many pieces. But I think there's something I want to know more about. And that is your musical tastes.
Oh, yeah.
Just because now I've got an idea of who you are. You're driving your Range Rover. Land Rover Discovery Sport. You're cruising along, gentle, but not to be fucked with. You've got, I kind of know your journey. You grew up in Guguletu.
Yes, at a Guguletu, yes.
Do you think that's affected your... Now we're moving away from the music, sorry, but do you think that that's affected you? As someone that grew up on the Cape Flats, I know that growing up in the Cape Flats has affected me, what I've done, my ability to do the things that I do, put fire in my belly, give me drive when I needed to. Do you think that there's a lot of... Well, do you think there's anything about where you grew up, how you grew up, that's sort of fueled you?
Guys, poverty or coming from nothing can either make you or break you, right? And it's unfortunately makes and breaks many. And I think a bit of luck is needed. You know what I mean? Like, what stopped a stray bullet from taking you out, brother? Like, what stopped a gangster from taking me out? You know what I mean? Like, it's flipping luck, But I do know, on a positive, it keeps the drive going, right? But on a negative, I still am that little poor kid. You know what I mean? I'm still that little poor kid. So there are times when I think twice about buying things. There are times. So it's about what and where it affects me for positive and negative. Do I think I could have survived in the township? I think my mother knew I couldn't. I think my mother knew that I was the kind of boy who wouldn't survive in that environment. I think my mom knew they put boys like me or us get put out. They try to put out our fire. They try to put out our magic because they don't understand it and they can't replicate it.
Like you mentioned, I've got friends that never made it out, that died. Stray bullets, car accidents because they were with the wrong people, drugs, and so on. So it's not just for TV. It's tough out there.
No, it is.
And by whatever means you get out or you get pushed out. But I do think it tempers you a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely that gives you something that I think you use later on. But so what do you listen to in your car? Do you listen to crazy? Do you listen to podcasts? Are you a conspiracy theorist?
Yeah. So my biggest thing I listen to on my car is musical theater. I love musical theater. I'm obsessed with musical theater. I travel to New York just to listen to musical theater. Like, I love musical theater. And then second, it will be podcasts, Chris Williamson, just being able to learn, be better, be challenged, be uncomfortable. I don't like being comfortable. It weirds me out. I don't like being comfortable. Like this, I feel like there's no growth in the comfort zone, man.
I knew that about you. That's why I worked out this old couch.
Yeah. I want to learn. I want to do better. I will sing and scream and shout music in my... A little while ago, I had a road trip with a woman. I went to go vote in Lesotho because I couldn't vote in South Africa. And I found, because I was in America when our elections were on, So I found out through Leeway. They did the election a week before, so I went to go vote in the studio. And I was singing with this woman in the car, singing top of my lungs for most of the way. And I said to her, find a man you can sing musical theaters with in the car. She looked at me and she says, but I found him. And I was like, no, not me.
That's someone else.
Yeah, but yeah, that's, I love
a
music.
big one. But so who's this lady? Is she gone?
Oh, no, I'm single. She's just a friend.
Okay.
But what she meant is that, no, but I have a friend.
I got you.
Musical theater,
That's
podcasts.
expression.
Yeah. Every day. There's not a day in my life I don't listen to musicals. There's not a single day in my life.
Have you done any?
Yes, I traveled the world with Lemurs as a kid, 9-year-old. I traveled the world with Lemurs. I've done a lot of stuff in high school. I love, but they don't pay. You guys fuckers don't pay. And then I love karaoke.
Where will one find Siv singing karaoke?
Sea Point is Boca. And I did to Bohemian Rhapsody. I usually arrive, put in my name, jump the line, Bohemian Rhapsody or Faith by George Michael.
Oh man!
And then I bounce.
Yeah, no, those are excellent.
Yeah,
two excellent ones right there.
Mm.
Damn, man. And then, so you're not into like weird, like freaky podcasts on like the Yeti?
No. I want to learn. I want to learn. I want to be able to, my moments, I want to rewind. I know that I'm living a podcast when I have to rewind. I have to regurgitate it on Instagram or write it down and think about what the hell he just said. Like, I heard something on my way here, and the guy said, I grew up and I heard the saying that says, do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. But he said, that's bullshit. When you do what you love, you'll never work as hard as when you do what you love. But the tools you'll be using will be lighter and more comfortable, and it'll be easy to use them. But you'll work harder than you've ever worked. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, that's my kind of shit. I heard nothing on driving here. The guy said, Jimmy Carr said, everyone wants to celebrate my success, but no one wants to celebrate when I'm on the training field training. They only want to be able to celebrate and say congratulations. No one wants to congratulate you when you're working and sweating. Like sometimes, have you ever noticed, during the Olympics, everyone's always going, wow, they're great. Look at the times. He's come out of nowhere. And then during the months after the Olympics, they show you them at under 16, under 17, under 18, under 19, under 20, and then Diamond League. You're like, nah, bro, these people have been working. Grinding. But no one's going to give you a pat on the back when you win under 20s, under 23s. They're only going to pat on the back when you win the Olympics.
But Jimmy Carr's a smart dude. He's got a lot
Genius.
Have you met him?
No.
I can't believe you haven't met him.
No, but I've watched all these shows, and he was actually on a show that I headlined, but he wasn't. He was the year before.
He was here in Cape Town, but when that happened, I was invited on my first overseas launch. I missed it. And then the next overseas launch was the launch of your car, the Land Rover Discovery Sport in Britain. We got flown through there. That was awesome. It was at a fancy mansion, and we had Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits performing live for us. And then in the crowd, there was Jimmy Carr. I got to shoot my shot again. I go over to Jimmy and I go, as I call him Jimmy, and I go, man, I'm such a big fan, but I missed you when you were in Cape Town, and I haven't really gotten over it. Would you do me a favor? Just call me a cunt. One of his favorite words. And he goes, you, sir, are a terrible cunt.
I love him.
Like, thank you so much.
How's it going? The funniest guy. No,
He's incredible.
hard worker.
But you got those British comedians, they're different kind.
Yeah.
No disrespect to our guys or the American guys, but there's something about British.
No. Yeah, but those British people, I think they could have fucking 20, 30 gigs in a week. You know what I mean? Like there's just too many. They really work, and they work with international. They work with locals. They just really, even in New York, like they work, bro. They work.
Talk about being tempted. Like they're in the fire.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
And what are you doing next, dude? I know you've covered that you're gonna go live in New York for a while.
So at the moment, I'm just shooting a new American film at the moment that starts next week. I don't know if it's coming out or nothing. Typical American shock film. I've got a new series coming out in 2 weeks. A film coming out in 2 weeks on Netflix. Then I have Unseen 2 next year. I don't know on Netflix or end of the year. And just producing some content, doing 2 films, producing 2 films and TV series, just working and making myself uncomfortable, man. Like, I want to create an empire. I want to be able to invoice myself. No one becomes rich by invoicing someone. You invoice yourself. And then open up my factory and start the legacy of just being able to one step closer to ending period poverty. And, if you don't know what period poverty is, young women are missing school every single week or every single month because they can't afford sanitary products. I'm opening my own sanitary pad factory in November and creating my own line of sanitary pads and one step closer to ending period poverty. At the moment, we're on 600,000 sanitary pads per month to about 75,000 women. And we want to be able to get to big numbers and making it affordable as possible.
What do you need to get there? Like, how do we appeal to the rest of the country?
At the moment, if you look up Menstruation Foundation on Instagram, there's a site there that you can donate. But the factory's on the way to South Africa. Now we're just raising money for the raw materials. But no, man, it's even if you just heard about menstruation, period poverty just now, that's one step closer to ending it.
Wow. Yeah, so like I said, that's one of the things I knew about you was the sanitary towel drives and so on. But I had no idea there was a factory on its way. And
yeah, I just came from China. Came from China to do some work there. Inspiring, man. Inspiring to be able to see what's happening there and make it affordable, man. And my biggest goal, my biggest goal is I want every single township to have a container that just sells sanitary pads. And we're going to do it like cigarettes as well. Like the young girl can buy 3 or 4, 50 cents, and make it as accessible as possible. When you flood the market with a product as much as that I want to, same as when you see choice condoms on the floor. When you ever pick the one, it must be everywhere. It must be as accessible as possible that no one's going to have to fight for it or steal it. Do you know what's the most stolen item in South Africa?
I thought it was a VW Polo.
It's baby formula.
Oh, I get it.
Mm.
That's just expensive.
Baby formula. But then you look at our HIV stats. If someone's going to have a load, they can't feed their child. Now, let me tell you one thing. You don't have to be rich or poor to understand the extent of things that people are willing to do when they can't feed their children. You think what you could do with your 3 sons? You'll kill.
Yeah. I won't say I've been there, but I've not been close to killing, but I've been close to not being able to provide, and I would have done anything.
Yeah.
And no, that's primal. That's just part of our makeup. That doesn't make it good or bad.
Yeah.
That's just part of our DNA. This is the part where the teeny tiny little channel promotes the really established superstar. So just give us a bit of a shout out, your tags, and maybe a way that people can reach out if they want to help.
No, please, man. First of all, I had a great time. Really fun to have a conversation and just chat with someone. But follow me, Siv Ngesi on Instagram, Menstruation Foundation on Instagram, and yeah, man. Just if you only remember one thing about this particular chat, just making a sandwich, make an extra sandwich. And if you are on your period, just pack an extra pack in your car and give it to the woman at the traffic light. I promise you it'll change someone's life. And another thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is it's okay to give back because it feels good. Like it does, man. It feels good. Like it's the same as us boys and us men. If you're a young boy listening to this, your mission is to satisfy your woman. And if you satisfy her, you'll be satisfied. Just like how the world works. Give back and you will come back 20-fold. So I talked about sex then. I said, come back.
It's been like that the whole time.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's pretty much how I see the world.
And maybe another message would be just go and call your mom, man. Go say
Yeah,
hi to your
man.
mom. Go say thanks.
You know, another thing that I find about that, you know, I never wanted to be the guy who lectures people about being better to their parents. Because I think some people think it's about how much time you spend with them. There's some people who live with their parents and don't have any quality time. For me, it's about having quality time with them, telling them you love them. My biggest regret about my mother is not experiencing her as a grandmother of my kids. That's the biggest regret. That's the biggest regret. Like, there's another sense of love. And when my mother died, she was lying on the ground, and I remember kissing her. And I thought to myself, I didn't kiss you a lot because of COVID. Because kissing you could have killed you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you think back and you're like, oh man, I should just risk it. You know what I mean? Like, but no, you know, you're trying. You don't know. But yeah, man, I was blessed to have her, and I'm blessed to be able to call her my mother. And for me, I challenge you all. I challenge you all. If you love someone, you fucking tell them.
100%.
No other way.
Siv, it's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege and an honor.
Thanks, man. In fact, your man cave is amazing.
This whole thing.
But did you think when you were living in the hood that you would have driven a Porsche?
No, and the thing is, it's nice to have a family SUV. And I do, but I never grew up liking Porsches. I didn't even know that I liked cars until I was like 15 years old. And my neighbor, God rest his soul, he died because he was in with the wrong crowd. But if I was 16, he would have been about 18. And he came home in the Skyline, Nissan Skyline, back in the 80s. And it's like when you know you're attracted to women, men, whatever. Like when I saw that car, I was like, I think I love cars now. And ever since then, and again, that was later on in my life, I'm like 18 years old, to realize then I love cars. And then to know that one day I'll be flying to the UK for the launch of a Land Rover, and I'll get to see interesting people and drive fancy cars and all other places. Like, I used to love watching Top Gear. I never at any point thought that's going to be my job one day. So you definitely never know. So like live your best life, whatever's going to come your way. If you've done all your bookkeeping, your social and emotional bookkeeping, you've been kind and you've done your best, and hopefully and maybe there's more in it that you've mentioned. Maybe it's a case of, doing no harm and taking no shit, and at the same time just living for the next person, making sure you
boundaries.
Thank you. Yeah.
Discipline. Boundaries, discipline, consistency, authenticity.
That one.
There's just it's there. Like I say to young boys all the time, like I speak to a lot of boys, I do a lot of talks and stuff, and I'm always like, they'll ask me questions like, what do you think? And I'm always like, make a woman feel safe in the fastest amount of time possible. Make anyone feel safe. I promise you, if a woman doesn't feel safe around you, there's no way you're getting into the next level. Or vice versa, any guy. I think sometimes we're just going to let it be less male and female and just more human.
Yeah. And that's outside of relationships, I think. Yeah. That's in business.
Don't be cuck. Yeah. Don't be cuck.
Don't be a cucko.
Yeah, don't be a cuck.
Let's leave it there.
Yeah, don't be a knight.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. It's been a pleasure, man.
Shut up. Thank you so much.